this week, the Pac-12 athletic directors, they met for a 2-day summit at their conference headquarters. That is in San Ramon, California. And the focus is media rights and the expansion strategy. The league currently sitting at 7 football-playing members. You got Oregon State, Washington State, and then you got the 5 Mountain West editions, and that's Boise State, Fresno, San Diego State, Colorado State, and Utah State. They've added Gonzaga for basketball and in the Olympic sports. That does not solve the football problem, right? You need 8 schools to be recognized by the NCAA as a conference. You need that many to be able to get a bid into the playoff. So that's the way it goes. So let's talk Pac-12 expansion. Let's talk about who's on the radar. I see Toma 888 jumped in. He said Tide is rolling in baskets. Yes, Alabama looks good in basketball. Auburn looks better right now. Let's not be honest. Let's not kid ourselves here. The state of Alabama is looking good. So Pac-12 expansion. Who is on the radar? To make the scheduling work, the league does want to add at least one more football team. They have to in order to be recognized as a conference. But multiple ADs believe that 9 is the ideal number. That means 2 expansion candidates or 2 expansion additions, not just one. And according to John Canzano, the top targets being discussed include UNLV, which brings in the Las Vegas market, strong basketball program, regional potential for massive football growth there as well. I mean, they just hired Dan Mullen. It did really well just in the last couple of years. So Nevada would be the other one. And they're in Reno, rivalry with UNLV. If they do decide to bring in the Rebels, it helps build, a more stable regional footprint. Another expansion candidate, Memphis, strong basketball brand, really solid football program, major city market. It's a top 50 market, so is what it is. And then Tulane, a very respected academic institution, recent football success. They've got the New Orleans market as well. That's a massive media market also. Adding 2 of these teams, would solidify football scheduling. You could have an 8-game conference schedule. It would be very easy, keep you from having to do a whole lot of non-conference scheduling, right? Now, the challenge is making sure that whoever they bring in would bring long-term value to the league. UNLV appears to be a perfect fit regionally. It's a massive market. They've got major boosters. They've made great hires. The program is certainly on the upswing. One of the biggest talking points right now is whether UNLV can even leave the Mountain West. Like, that's the problem. The Mountain West commissioner, Gloria Nevarez, she came out and made claims that the 7 Mountain West schools, that includes UNLV, that they signed a grant of rights when they agreed to the conference's new media deal. Now, if that's true, it would mean UNLV is locked into the Mountain West unless they can negotiate some kind of an exit or challenge the legality of the agreement. But, there are some legal issues with Navarez's claim here. The new Mountain West media deal has not been signed yet. So no money has changed hands, which makes the legality of the grant of rights questionable, right? If UNLV argues that the Mountain West failed to deliver on their promised expansion efforts, because remember, they're sitting at 7 schools as well. Well, and I guess 8 would be Northern Illinois. So either way, if they can argue that the Mountain West did not deliver on what they promised, they could claim that they were misled, which would give them, somewhat of a legal avenue to be able to exit. But there's also a bigger picture here. Like, UNLV likely is not the only Mountain West school that's talking to the Pac-12. We brought up Reno, and New Mexico has also been rumored to be in discussions. That could mean an even bigger realignment shift. So if the Pac-12, if they decide to expand the footprint beyond the West Coast, the Memphis and Tulane make a lot of sense. But if they do take UNLV and Reno and even New Mexico, the Mountain West is in a lot of trouble because they have to, again, you have to be at 8 members. So we'll see exactly what ends up happening. And if you completely kill a conference, there's all kinds of litigation that goes into this. So let's talk about the Memphis-Tulane side of things. And I'll talk mostly on the Memphis side because that is the one that I'm the most familiar with, the one that I've done the most research on, the one that I know. Memphis and Tulane make sense for the Pac-12. If Memphis gets the call from the Pac-12, They need to pick up and say yes immediately. No thinking about it, no nothing, because fan engagement and TV viewership in the AAC is just, it's plummeting. Memphis football attendance in 2024 averaged less than 25,000 people per game. That is the lowest since 2012. This was an 11-2 team, and the fans still did not show up. Basketball attendance is down as well. The Tigers are averaging right now 11,925 tickets sold per game. That's lower than last year, even though the Tigers have a top 20 team, and they already had high-profile home matchups against Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Missouri. On top of that, the TV ratings have just completely collapsed. Memphis averaged 424.6 thousand viewers per football game in 2024. That is down 56% from the previous season. That is the lowest viewership since 2014. Like, the AAC schedule is not getting fans, and it shows. Like, the Memphis home slate this past season was North Alabama, Troy, MTSU, North Texas, Charlotte, Rice, and UAB. There is zero national appeal in those games, and the only one that has any real appeal locally is UAB, because it used to be a big rivalry game. None of those teams are very good. The North Texas game was a banger. It was great. The Charlotte game was great. It was very entertaining. Nobody cared, because those programs do not operate on the same plane as Memphis. So a move to the Pac-12, that would instantly give Memphis better matchups. Like, imagine Memphis playing home games against Boise State, Fresno State, Washington State, Oregon State in football. In basketball, you get Gonzaga in here, San Diego State, Utah State. I mean, these are all top 25 programs. That's the kind of schedule that gets fans interested again. So as far as the Pac-12, they're not rushing into expansion, but we know that there are moves coming. They are going to have to add somebody. It needs at least one more football team. 2 or 3 could be in play. I think the most likely additions are probably UNLV and Nevada, but we got to figure out the legality of that. I wouldn't sleep on Memphis or Tulane if that Mountain West deal becomes an issue. For now, though, the Pac-12, the new look Pac-12, they are focused on generating stability and making sure that they survive. Right? The longer they wait, the harder it's going to be to stay relevant in what is a rapidly changing college football landscape. Expansion, again, to reiterate, expansion is not just a possibility. They have to move to 8 football-playing schools in order to be recognized by the NCAA and by the CFP. So they're going to have to do this. They're going to add somebody.